As Your Heart Betrays You, Part 15. A Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction written and narrated by Mira Rose. Artwork by Evenart Adam on Instagram and Tumblr. You can find the link to her in the description box below. If you haven't listened to the previous 14 parts, you can also find those linked in the description box. Now then, if we haven't already, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit the like, and leave a comment for the YouTube algorithm. If you don't know what to comment, put Cat Noir the Cook. Please enjoy As Your Heart Betrays You, Part 15. Marinette Dupang Chang, 21 years of age, as Ladybug. Once again, Cat Noir proved himself to be an excellent cook. Ladybug initially thought she'd be too full from the party in her honor, but most of it was cookies and sweets, not sustenance, and when he poured the homemade pasta into boiling water, her stomach rumbled. He'd let them hang all day, which meant he'd probably set all of this up as she slept in, which begged questions about her observational skills. But oh well. Alia was in on it. More surprising than the food, the candles, and the still unopened present was Cat Noir's reaction to Luca. He teared up multiple times before the boys entered town and stiffened at the bond between one boy and the father. She'd almost thought they were getting a bit too old for these movies. Not that they weren't good, but that they were starting to not be as good as they used to be. In actuality, she's just grown up. She's not the demographic anymore, and it was strange to realize the world moving on without her, targeting the next generation of hopes and dreams, even though it focused on her all of her life. Even if she clamped her grip around childlike wonder, she could feel it whipping away like a tattered flag, flying too long and exposed. "So," she said, her feet against the coffee table as the credits rolled, their sauce-splattered plates abandoned atop it. "What is in the box?"
"If you opened it, you'd find out."
"No hints?"
"That was the hint," Cat laughed.
"Do you want me to open it in front of you?" She hated getting that question. It always made her feel awkward, but now she understood why people asked.
"Go ahead."
Ladybug took a breath, the sharp inhale louder than expected, and grabbed the box. She tugged at the ribbon and slid up the cardboard topper to reveal the birthday present. "A snow globe?" she said, picking it up as the bottom of the box fell into her lap.
"It's an acrylic standee on the inside,"
he explained, pointing to a picture of the two of them cut out from a fight a few years back. She recognized it. It was another birthday of hers, but fighting the victim took too long and she ended up not celebrating. The victim created a snowstorm, and the fight took so long because she kept hiding in piles and piles of it, turning Paris into a cavern of ice and snow. Her parents tried to cheer her up when she got home, but she'd gone straight to bed instead. The picture was of the two of them, collapsed against a brick wall of the cheese store downtown, with legs stretched out, leaning against the other. It was a nice photo, and it got a lot of buzz, but at the time she was dreading going back home, and he was cracking butt jokes to make her feel better. Then he started beatboxing because the beeps from his ring and her earrings were just off. "Thank you, Cat Noir." Ladybug leaned her shoulder into his, just like they were in the photo.
"I wondered why you were so upset that day. It was more than frustration."
"Yeah, now you know."
"What were your original plans?"
She laughed. It'd always been a dark memory, but looking at this, maybe it wasn't. Her partner, who stayed behind to make her laugh because he knew something was wrong, that was a sparkle on the gray birthday. "I was gonna have dinner with my boyfriend."
"Oh?"
He squinted at the photo, then looked at her, still confused. "Yeah, we just started dating."
"He forgot? Or didn't make it up to you?"
"No, we'd broken up 2 weeks before, and I somehow thought that maybe, well, she took in a breath, putting her head on his shoulder. I guess I somehow thought I still had a chance. I spent those 2 weeks trying to get back together instead of getting myself back together.
Oh.
She didn't look up as he made a clicking sound.
Was 2 weeks before your birthday too close to it? It wasn't enough time, so it ruined it.
Half a month? She sat back up, shaking her head. No, it's plenty of time, especially for how long we'd been dating.
So it...
He swallowed, clearing his throat. My ruined birthday isn't on him. Ladybug turned to look at her partner. There are other things to be upset with him about, but my 18th birthday wasn't one of them.
So, when you were 16, you puked on a crocodile because of a guy, and you went through a breakup when you were 17, Cat said, nodding. I'm learning so much about you, my lady.
Oh, stop! She nudged him with her shoulder. I'd be boring if there is nothing to unravel.
I'm always entertained when I learn a new spot of information about you, LB.
Okay, well then. Ladybug turned to him, propping her head against her hand as she rested her elbow against the back of the couch, half crossing her foot against her thigh as the other draped over the cushion. How did you spend your 18th birthday? He looked away, taking a sharp breath.
I had this, friend,
Cat began, looking at the drawn curtains. If he picked them out, he had taste.
She actually set up this birthday party for me.
Oh? Did you know about it?
Honestly?
He laughed, as if the memory entertained him. That's good.
It's not the first party she threw for me. She always advocated for me to have friends and, exist. Basically, I don't know how to phrase it.
Cat adjusted himself, leaning into the cushion and crossing an ankle over his knee.
My family doesn't like company that much.
Really?
Yeah, not like in an I hate people kind of way, just a quiet house was ideal.
Ah. She nodded, thinking of Adrian.
Arg, she could never escape him.
I know the type.
Anyway, with everyone busy with their work study and getting ready for the baccalaureate, I didn't think she'd throw a party. She hadn't the year before, and we'd kind of grown apart.
Oh? The soft, reminiscing look he wore tugged at her heart, stirring a strange cocktail of emotions for her to sip on. Happy he had someone to do that for him, and somewhat jealous that she wasn't able to be that person for him. Sad he didn't expect to celebrate his birthday at all, even though he must have friends. You can't have a party without people, and if she'd done it before but not for his 17th, had he grown distant with the others then? And if he had, was it because he was Cat Noir? She knew the way being a miraculous holder shattered relationships. The missed plans, the half-baked lies that sounded like dodges. Whoever the girl was, it wouldn't be surprising if she dropped out of his life entirely, especially at such a busy time in their lives.
Yeah, so, well, it made me feel...
He searched for a word, shaking his head as he studied the ceiling before turning to look at her.
Loved.
Her heart swelled. I get that. She looked away. She'd done that for Adrian, hoping for him to have that same reaction. If only she'd known. Ladybug could only imagine the loneliness of his 17th birthday, and if she'd known, she would have done something for Cat. She would have let her beloved partner know his worth on that lonely day. Are you still friends then? He looked down.
Not really, no.
He licked his lips, sighing.
I ended up dating her after that, and, well, you know me.
Cat shrugged, choosing to turn to the dirty dishes instead of looking at her.
Can't keep a relationship, even the good ones.
It was inappropriate, but Ladybug laughed. What about me?
Huh?
He snapped his eyes to hers, lips parted with eyebrows raised. We're a relationship, right? You haven't ruined us, kitty. She reached over and swiped at his bell. His nose wrinkled, the same face he made a few times at the beginning of the movie. Yes. He wrapped his hand around hers, still hovering in front of his collarbone. You are a relationship I won't ever risk. She laughed, realizing she'd shot herself in the foot. She loved him, but they'd never date. Cat Noir would not risk that. And he was right. Ladybug shouldn't risk this relationship either. She'd learned the hard way with Adrian 3 years ago. Even relationships you think can survive it don't. At least, not at their age. Had I known, she said, turning her hand so her fingers slid between his, her face still propped against her arm on the couch. I would have thrown a party for you, Cat Noir. He laughed, shaking his head.
Thank you, Ladybug.
I mean it. The only reason I wouldn't is if there was a psycho lover, but... She raised an eyebrow, letting a smile of mischief crawl across her lips. If you had a psycho lover, she'd have to defeat me first.
Well,
Cat said, wiggling his eyebrows.
I guess I'll never have one, because nobody could ever beat you, my lady.
You've never seen 2 psychos fight, have you?
I've, dated half the celebs in the area. I know crazy.
Hair pulls and ring slaps?
White sapphire does especially well for cutting a cheek.
She giggled. Can't win against magic, though. She winked, and he rolled his head back in laughter.
Oh, Ladybug.
He lifted her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss, then letting go, letting her take it back.
I love you.
She knew what he meant. She did. But oh, how it hurt. I love you too, Cat. She returned it with a smile, her eyes twinkling with laughter. She wouldn't blink the hurt in until he looked away.
Anyway,
he slapped his thighs, then stood.
I should get going. Alia will be back soon.
How'd you get her out of the house, anyway?
Set of Disneyland Paris tickets.
Ah, that would do it. And none for me?
Would you like to go to Disneyland Paris?
With you? Yeah, totally. He blinked a few times, then covered his mouth and nose with a hand as he looked away.
You aren't gonna shoot that down with paparazzi what-ifs?
She shrugged. If people are photoshopping kisses, then fine. Whatever. She shook her head. Besides, I don't know your birthday, so the least I can do is make sure you feel special throughout the year. That same eyebrows up, mouth open expression resurfaced on his face, peeking through his splayed fingers as he pulled his hand away from his face, still hovering.
My lady.
He looked at her, then away.
It'd be the talk of the town.
The heroes together? Pfft, nah. Besides, everyone knows you're a playboy, and we know what the articles will say. The lady blog will shut them down as usual, so it doesn't affect your dating life.
Well, I'm not dating right now, remember?
She stared at him as he looked everywhere but at her. Was he that embarrassed of his dating history? In front of her? His confidant over the years? The one he asked questions about how to make his dates feel better or to have a better impression? They literally planned dream dates together, and she'd watch as he took other people on them. It's gonna raise a lot of questions in the media world, you know? He shrugged.
It is what it is.
What if you got a fake girlfriend? Ladybug didn't mean to say it. It wasn't even a suggestion about herself. It was her slipping back into the role of his dating coach. A fake girlfriend. He looked at her. His hands dropped to his side as he cocked his head. Yeah. She shrugged, feeling sweat prickle under her arms as she tried to remain cool and nonchalant. Just, think about it, so you don't get harassed. Ah, yes. Right. He looked away again. But anyway, Ladybug clapped her hands together to clear the air. Thank you again, Cat Noir. Today was... She searched for a word. Special. Special good? Yeah. She couldn't help but say it with a giggle. This guy and his anxieties. Special good. Good. His smile matched hers, and he reached for the plates. Oh, don't worry about those, she began, but he was halfway to the kitchen. It's Alia's turn! No use. Cat began scrubbing, whistling as she sank back into the couch. There's no way he'd let her help on her birthday. Instead, she watched his back as he rinsed off bubbles, basking in the evening's warmth and his company. Today wasn't perfect, but it was pretty close for something between friends. This cat. She might not love someone like this for the rest of her life, and that wasn't her being dramatic or investing too much emotional labor into him. He'd literally saved her life, and vice versa, on multiple occasions. He'd called her out, and she'd done the same. And despite her past efforts of trying to keep a distance, they'd still been able to count on each other and put the other first. No supervillains included. But she didn't need to do that anymore. That distance she'd kept? It was time to put away the meter stick and open the crosswalk. There wasn't a reason for it anymore. From now on, she'd treat Cat the way he deserved. From now on, Ladybug would make sure to return the title of Best Partner Ever, featuring herself. Thank you so much for listening. Part 16 is on the way. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more fanfiction, and I will catch you in the next one. If you are still listening, comment Best Partner Ever. Bye!